How's it going, Paul? Leonard here. I've had a good chance to review your website, really understand more about your business, and I've jotted down several things, both SEO and non-SEO related, that I think would be some good areas of opportunity to focus on for a potential SEO and digital campaign. So I'll go ahead and jump in because I have several things to go over here. So the first thing I noticed, kind of looking through your website, the title tags, they could be a bit better optimized because, of course, you're providing these services for specific business types. So, for in this case, medical equipment removal. But just as important is you want to include that target location a little, closer to the front of the title tag. So in this case, you have medical equipment removal and recycling, Atlanta North, GA. I would rewrite this title tag to say Atlanta medical equipment removal, then maybe hyphen or pipe symbol, then recycling or medical equipment recycling, and then hyphen or pipe symbol, and then green junk removal if there's sufficient space for the rest. And that would better position your site, your page to be more targeted to Atlanta. It's included there, but the way you have this order, it's not the optimal for SEO. Now, looking on the page itself, the heading tags also, there's no mention of your location. Since you are focused on a local area, we're going to take a local SEO approach with your campaign, and your target area is just as important as the service. So again, I would put Atlanta medical equipment recycling or Atlanta medical equipment removal. Then here you could put something like medical equipment removal and recycling for Atlanta and surrounding areas. Okay. And I think that would just better optimize your pages not only for medical equipment removal, but also for Atlanta. And I would do something similar for all of the pages on your website. Now, while I'm on the medical equipment page, uh, and this is something maybe you can confirm, but it seems that from these, if we go back to the home page, it seems that right now from the different services that you offer, it seems that medical equipment would be the best, at least right now during this COVID situation, because these other businesses, they might have been forced to be closed. I'm not sure what is the law as far as shelter in place in Georgia, but it seems like medical equipment or medical facilities, they would still be open. So if I had to prioritize based on, from what I'm seeing with search trends, medical equipment recycling would definitely be my priority. Now, if you find that some of these other business types or job types are still out there, they're still available, then we can add them to the list. But right now, I would put all of my focus on medical equipment recycling, at least for SEO. So part of that is not only doing the optimizations that I just mentioned, but also I would build up some blog articles. So you might wonder, what is the point of blog articles for removal and recycling services? People pretty much know what they need to do. It's only so much you can talk about. Well, from an SEO perspective, blogs do a few things for you. First, they position you as the expert. If you have the medical equipment recycling page, but then you have these 4 or 5 blog articles that talks about some of the nuances with medical equipment removal and recycling, well, that alone is going to showcase you as the expert, your team as the expert with this type of job, this type of service. Blogs also allow you the opportunity to target more keywords, so you can target more long tail keywords because you have more articles and more content to target them in. And most importantly for your SEO, blog articles, when combined with a good services page, they will add topical relevance to medical equipment recycling Atlanta. So assuming that we interlink them together, so it pretty much creates like a silo of medical equipment recycling pages, all linked together, all connected. This would make it much easier for you to rank for Atlanta medical equipment removal, Atlanta medical equipment recycling, and other long tail variations of that, because you have put forth the effort in putting together content that provides more authority and more topical relevance on your website. Now, this is, like I said, medical equipment recycling should be the focus, but the same applies for any of your other services as well. I just think medical equipment recycling should be the priority. Now, my next thing here, I noticed at the very bottom, you have some city pages, or not city pages, but you basically have the list of locations that you target. So I think we need to take this to the next step and pick maybe the top 5 to 10 of these cities and towns. Either we can do that by population, or we can do that by where there's potential demand, and build out standalone pages for these different cities. And the reason why this works, Paul, is that when you have just a site, this site right now is pretty much targeting Atlanta. If you have a dedicated page targeting, for example, College Park, and all of the meta tags are optimized for College Park, all of the headings are optimized for College Park, and the page is written for homeowners or business owners in College Park, not only are you optimizing to improve the ranking for that area, but also you're putting together content that's more likely to convert, because you're writing not necessarily for someone in Atlanta, but for someone specifically in College Park. So conversion rate optimization, that's a big piece here, because it's one thing to get traffic to your website, regardless if it's Google, ads, social media, or whatever. It's another thing to convert on that traffic and get them to request a quote or to call your team. So 2 parts there. But from my research, and I'll open up another window here, the top 5 cities as far as average monthly search volume for junk removal related phrases were College Park, Lithonia, Norcross, Peachtree Corners, and Stone Mountain. So if we're just going by search volume, average search volume, those will be the top 5 that I target starting off. Now, long term, you can build out a page for each of your target locations. That's definitely doable. However, I always like to take priority and to prioritize those towns or those tasks where you're going to see some benefit as soon as possible. Okay, so that's my third point there, building out city pages. Number 4, and it's kind of similar to what I just mentioned for medical equipment removal services, but if you see here at the top of the list, I'll zoom in here a bit so you can see. Your top 2 phrases here are junk removal Atlanta and junk removal Atlanta GA. So on average, they average about 1,100 searches per month. So, and you're ranked on page 2. You're number 19, so the bottom of page 2 for junk removal Atlanta. That's the big one. It has about 1,000 searches per month. And then for junk removal Atlanta GA, you're ranked number 16. So right in the middle of page 2. So I suggest one way you can improve the ranking onto page 1 is that, similar to medical equipment removal services, you build out your topical relevance around junk removal Atlanta. And the best way to do that, Paul, is to add more blog articles that discuss different junk removal topics that are relevant to Atlanta residents. I think y'all call yourselves ATLians, but I'm not quite sure. I think that was an Outcast album, but ATLians. So that's really the best way to improve your rankings in addition to link building. But I always like to take a content focused approach first, and then that should position you to page 1 or at least higher up on page 2, then that's when we come in with some link building to further bolster that efforts and improving your visibility for Atlanta search phrases. Now, number 5, and these recommendations are actually not SEO related, but first I will look at AdWords. From what I'm seeing in my dashboard here, I didn't see any history of you all running Google Ads, and I'll kind of break down why that's a good idea. I understand you have a limited budget, but this is why it's a good idea. SEO, to really start getting some momentum for these things, especially for Atlanta, which I would consider a moderately sized, moderately competitive location, you're looking at least 5 to 6 months to see anything significant. Now, if we build out these city pages for these smaller or these less populated areas, you could see faster results. But really, to get the prize, get better visibility in Atlanta proper, that's going to take at least 5 to 6 months, if not longer. So the benefit of running Google Ads is that if we build that campaign, optimize it correctly, then you can start getting calls by the end of this week. So AdWords, it does take some ad budget to get started. However, I'm looking at the cost per click, the average cost per click for these phrases, and I'm seeing $9, $8, $3, $6. I really didn't see anything here over $12. So I would recommend, strongly considering using AdWords because, yeah, I understand your predicament. You're trying to drive business through the website. SEO is going to take time to build momentum. So one way to compensate for that lag time is to run Google Ads. So I think that would definitely be something I consider if I were in your shoes. The next thing is actually LinkedIn. This is more focused on business owners. So I would connect with business owners on LinkedIn. Let's go back to your website. So I would focus on business owners on LinkedIn, and I would focus on business owners who would need these types of services. So I'm sure you know that like the back of your hand. But the idea here is that we would create a campaign where we reach out to these business owners. We identify the target industries. If you only work with certain business sizes, that's possible too with LinkedIn. And we would actually reach out to business owners, use LinkedIn as a connection tool. And then we can cold email them. Well, it's really not a cold email because they are now connected with you on LinkedIn. But once we become connected with them, we'll have access to their email address, and we can send out email blasts. Not being too salesy, but kind of helping them understand the benefits of your services and pretty much who you are, what you do, why they need your services, when they need your services, and why they should get your services now. Give you a call now. So, and even Paul, if there are certain times when a business will really need services. So, for example, if at a certain time of the year, these businesses, they're ordering new equipment or new furniture, then that would be the prime time that we should be connecting with these business owners. My other strategy for LinkedIn would be to connect with commercial real estate agents, commercial property management companies, really anyone who manages commercial leases, because they would know firsthand like when companies are moving out, when they might be moving in, and they might move into their office and realize they have some furniture that they don't need, so they'll be giving it away. So, of course, you can do this offline, do meetup groups, but LinkedIn would be another way online that you can connect with these types of business owners. So that's not SEO related at all, but, it probably wouldn't work as fast as AdWords, but it would, add another dynamic to your prospecting, to your lead generation process that I think could lead to some positive results for you. So that brings me to the end of the video, Paul. I hope it has been helpful. Like I said, available tomorrow and Friday if you would like to chat. But take care and have a great rest of your evening.